Okay, hello everybody, and welcome to this Verbling class with me. My name is Amy, and today we've got a class in my Around the World in 80 Days series, which is where we travel around the world virtually and visit different countries and read about them, finding out something maybe that we didn't know, or reading about something particularly special about that country. So today's class is going to be a reading class. We'll focus on improving your reading and pronunciation and also improving your vocabulary a little bit. And our topic today is the Amazon. So the Amazon in Brazil. I don't know whether we'll have any Brazilians in today's class, but it's certainly an interesting place to look at. So I hope you can join us. And before we say hello to the students, what I will do is let you know about some things that can help you here when you're with us on Verbling. So the first thing I want to let you know about is my Facebook page, which you can go and have a look at if you're interested in just sort of keeping in touch with what's going on. Each of the teachers has one of these, and it's a good place to share and communicate kind of informally outside of class time. So do check out my Facebook page if you're interested. And the other useful page for you is the Verbling teacher page, and I'll give you the link now also in the chat box. This is where you'll find all the information you need about me as a teacher, or the other teachers if you go to their Verbling teacher pages. My calendar is there showing both upcoming classes that I've got planned, what they're about, so that you can have a look in advance, and also my open tutoring slots. If you're interested in private tutoring sessions, you can take a look at my calendar and see if there's anything that suits you. If you click on the blue follow button, then you will be able to follow me, and then you'll receive automatic notifications of my classes. And you can also write me a message if you've got any questions about anything. Do feel free to write to me and I'll get back to you. Okay, so with that behind us, I'll remind you that this is a a reading class mostly, although we will be doing a bit of speaking too, and talking about what we're reading. And our topic today is the Amazon. So this is a place I've always wanted to go, so I find it fascinating. We're going to say hi to the students and see who we've got here to read with us this morning or this evening. So let's say hello first of all to David. Hello.
Hello, how are you, Amy?
I'm well, thank you, David. How are you?
Fine. Maybe you don't remember me because
No,
I've changed my profile picture.
I was just about to ask you that, David.
Yes, I'm in the field, in the picture, enjoying the nature.
And whereabouts is that? Is that in your country, in another country?
Yes, 10 minutes walk, or maybe 15, 20 minutes walk from my home.
Wow, so you live really near to, what is it, a
Yeah,
forest or mountain?
yes, it's the river. It's a river in the middle of the nature. I live in a little town near of a big city, but uh, I live close to the nature too. So on weekends especially, I go to hiking or biking, even running sometimes.
Hmm.
So uh, this picture was taken 2 weekends ago
Hmm.
uh, on a very beautiful Sunday. So let's go to walk.
Thank you. That's great, David. It looks beautiful, and how nice that you get to live so near the lovely nature.
You're
Welcome to the
welcome.
class. Welcome to the class. All right, who else do we have here? We have Julian and dot dot dot. Mhm.
Yeah, hey Amy, how are you?
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, it's very quiet, Julian. Can you speak up a little bit, please?
Okay. Now you can hear me?
Yes, it's still a little bit quiet, but that's okay. How are you?
Fine, thanks. And you?
I'm well, thank you. How is your studying and everything going?
Can you repeat the question, please?
How is your studying going? Have you been studying English a lot, or is it been going slowly?
Slowly?
Yeah, so sometimes I always find with when I'm studying, sometimes I make lots of progress and it's going really well, and sometimes I think, oh, it's very slow and it's going not so well.
Okay. Uh, I'm I'm going to try to fix the problem.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Julian. I'll come back to
Okay.
you. Good morning or good evening to Maria. Hello, are you there, Maria?
Teacher, you can hear me now better?
Yes, it's slightly better, Julian. Oh, okay. Sounds like we're having a couple of technical problems this morning. Let me see. Maria, I don't know whether you can hear me or not. Are you there? No? All right, we'll come back to you as well. Let's say hi to Bruno. How are you, Bruno?
Hi, Amy. How are you? Are you
I'm
sick?
good. Well, actually, to be honest, I've got a bit of a cold, but it's not
Yeah.
too bad. I hope it's not too annoying for you guys. I'll try not to sniff too much. But apart from that, I'm
Okay.
okay. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking.
Excellent. Yeah, is your studying going all right?
Actually, I'm in a school break right now, but next
Oh,
week I'm going. Yeah, unfortunately.
unfortunately. Yeah, you've got to go back to your studies.
Yeah.
And have you been watching the football?
Yes, I'm trying to watch the more amount of games as I can. What
Yeah.
about you?
Not really, to be honest. I've been keeping up with what's going on, but I'm not a big football fan. So I've just been finding out
Uh,
what the scores are and ignoring the games.
but it's
That's the
popular
fact.
in the United Kingdom, right?
I'm actually not in the UK right now, Bruno. I'm in New Zealand, which is the other side of the world.
Uh,
So, yeah, all the
uh,
games are basically in the middle of the night for me, which makes it even worse. If I was a big fan, I would get up, but I'm not. So,
okay.
yeah. All right, well, welcome to class, Bruno. Good to see you again.
Okay, thank you.
Who else do we have here? Allah.
Hello, teacher. How are you?
How are you? I'm good, thank you, Allah. How is life?
It's okay. I'm studying, but it's going slowly. Maybe it's very hectic now.
You sound tired, Allah. It's okay.
No, I try to charge the head long and study English more to, I want to do the exam as fast as possible.
Yes. Oh, well, good luck. Keep going. I know it's sometimes a struggle, but you'll get through it. You'll get through it. All right. Guys, if you could just keep your microphones muted if you're not talking, please. That helps us all. Hello to Adela.
Hello, is it
Oh,
is a noisy class today?
pardon? It's a noisy class.
No,
It is.
yes, this is a problem, a technical problems, no, with the sound. I
I
think
think so. I'm not
yes.
sure what's happening, Adela. Are you guys all able to hear me okay?
But do you hear me? Yes.
Yes, I
Okay.
can hear you perfectly, Adela. How are you?
Okay. Fine, thanks. Well, a little tired because it's 11 p.m. in
All
Spain.
right. Yes, and are you going to go to bed after this class?
Yes.
I
After
don't blame
that class, I'm
you.
to sleep.
All right, wonderful. Well, welcome everybody. I know that we've got a few students, I think, struggling a little bit with the sound, but we're going to start anyway, and we'll just hope that they come back and are able to join us. So today our topic is the Amazon, and it's somewhere that I just have always wanted to go since I was, a little kid. I remember doing a project at school on the Amazon and thinking, oh, it just looks so amazing. I have to go there. So I'm hoping one day I get to go there. But has anyone here ever been to the Amazon rainforest before? No? All right, we don't have any Amazon experts with us then. It's all going to be new. So obviously we know, I think most of us, that the Amazon rainforest is primarily in Brazil, although I believe that it has some parts of it extend into the other countries around it. However, we're going to learn a little bit about Brazil because we do often have lots of Brazilian students, and the majority of the rainforest is here. I think it's a very fascinating country. And I'm going to ask Adela if you could read for us, please. What can you see there? What I've put into the chat box about Brazil?
Sorry, what?
I would like you to read, Adela, if you could, in the chat box, at the Verbling chat box at the side. Can you see I've got Brazil, officially the Federative Republic of Brazil? No?
Sorry, in the chat, in the Verbling box? No.
Yeah, I've put it into both now, either of the chat boxes, whichever one you're looking at.
I have a page, a sheet page, yes, in the, okay, about Brazil.
Yes, exactly.
As 7, yes, more of Brazil. As 75 years old, villager Antonio Gomez told us stories of growing up in Boca do Mamuraua, a tiny settlement in the North Amazon rainforest.
Just a sec, Adela. Sorry,
Okay.
there was a bit of a misunderstanding. Just before we start reading the article, normally what I like to do in these classes is to read a little bit about the country, just so that we can understand where the country is and what it's like. So I'm just wondering if David's saying he can't see it. Can you guys see what I've pasted into the chat box? Allah, are you able to see?
No, it's okay for me now.
Okay, in that case, Adela, I'll come back to you. I'll get Allah to read it if you wouldn't mind, Allah.
Yes, teacher.
Thank
Starting
you.
from
Just from Brazil, officially the Federative Republic of Brazil.
Okay, Brazil, officially the Federative Republic of Brazil, is the largest country in both South America and the Latin America region. It's the world's 5th largest country, both by geographical area and by population. It's the largest Portuguese-speaking country in the world, and the only one in the Americas. It borders all other South American countries except Ecuador and Chile, and occupies 47% of the continent of South America. Brazil was inhabited by numerous tribal nations prior to the landing of explorer Pedro Alvares Cabral in 1500, who claimed the area for Portugal. Brazil remained a Portuguese colony until 1808, when the capital of the empire was transferred from Lisbon to Rio de Janeiro after French forces led by Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte invaded Portugal. Brazil is one of the 17 mega-diverse countries, home to a variety of wildlife, natural environments, and extensive natural resources in a variety of protected habitats.
Great, thank you, Allah. Adela, we're just simply reading something straight from the chat box, so that's what we were just reading. But it's not too important, okay? It's just an introduction.
I don't see in the chat box, sorry.
You can't see it? Okay, don't worry about it. We're going to move on to the article now. I'm not sure why, but sorry about that. Is there any questions about vocabulary from anybody before we start reading the article?
Okay, in this moment, okay, no.
Alright, so Dad, because you already started off for us, I will get you to read. You can see now I'm doing a screen share, but if you would like to have a look at the article yourself, then you've got it here. I'll paste that there for you. So, Adela, could you start with the title, please, here?
Sleeping on stilts in the Amazon.
Great. And what I'll do is I'll get you all to read a short paragraph or a couple of paragraphs each. And we'll pause, and I'll just help you if there's any mistakes you've made or anything you can improve on. And then we'll talk about the vocabulary before we move on to the next part so that we can all follow. And don't forget to have a look at beautiful pictures. If you click on these arrows here, you'll be able to scroll through them later on. But we'll get on with the reading now. So Adela, thank you. Would you mind starting again, and you can read this paragraph here for us?
A 75 years old villager, Antonio Gomez, told us a story of growing up in Boca do Mareoa, a tiny settlement in the northern Amazon rainforest. I tried to ignore the tiny blue files beating through my trousers. Despite my interest in hearing how locals survive in this remote part of Brazilian rainforest, now a part of the Mamirawa Sustainable Development Reserve, I was grateful to escape when he finished finding refuge in one of the tall wooden houses.
Great, thank you, Adela. Lovely reading. All right, let's go through a few little things just to improve a little bit. Here, this one here we have, because we're using this as an adjective, we're saying that the villager, that's the noun, is 75 years old. But we're using it as an adjective and placing it before. So we actually we take off the S and we say a 75-year-old villager.
Yes.
Yeah. However, if we put this afterwards, it would correctly be 75 years old. This one here is flies.
Flies.
Yes. So a fly is one of those irritating insects that flies around.
Yes.
And biting through my trousers.
Biting.
Yeah, perfect. This one is hearing.
Cheering.
Not jeering, but with a H, hearing.
Hearing.
Yes, perfect. Thank you, Adela. That was lovely. All right, does anyone have any questions? Vocabulary, grammar?
I do. How do you pronounce a teeny settlement or tiny?
A tiny settlement. Tiny.
Tiny settlement.
Yep.
Okay.
So we had tiny here twice, didn't we?
Yeah.
What do you mean of tiny blue flies?
Tiny blue flies. A fly is an insect. One of those insects that lands on smelly things and but this is just means that it's a type of species that is very small and blue. Okay? I'm imagining that they probably have different types of flies in the Amazons to the flies that we get in our usual cities or whatever. So this is probably why. Any other questions?
Yes, teacher, in the heading stilts.
Yes. What are stilts? Does anyone know? No? Okay.
Probably like a shelter.
A shelter? Yes, okay, so that they will be sleeping in a shelter. However, the stilts is something very unusual about the shelter.
This is a space of house, no? With a basement in water, no?
Yes, Adela, you're on the right lines. Stilts are basically like tall. The best way to describe it is if you think of a circus where you have lots of acts, right? You have clowns and horses, or I don't know what you have, lots of different things, acrobats. You'll probably also have somebody walking on stilts, and that means that they're big sticks that make the person really, really tall. So they stand on these sticks and then they walk around and they're like a couple of meters tall. And the sticks are called stilts. And basically they mean that they raise something up. So these houses that we're going to read about are on stilts. It means they're raised up above the ground or above the water, and you'll find out why as we read along. Okay?
Okay.
Alright. So one of the tall wooden houses is referring to these houses here. And then we're going to find out a bit more about it right now. So if I can I'll just quickly say hello to Jesus.
Hi, teacher.
Hello, welcome to the class. Are you following what we're doing?
Yeah. This is my first class, so I'm a little. Well, I don't know exactly how this works, but I think I know it the little by little.
Alright, no problem, Jesus. Just see how you go. If you have any questions, do ask us, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Alright, so I'll ask Allah if you could read. Actually, you've read the introduction, so I'll ask Bruno to read the next part, please. Are you there, Bruno?
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'm here. The houses hover some 3 meters above the ground. They are not unusual. Almost everything in the Mamirawa Reserve is on stilts, even the chicken coop. It has to be. Although much of Brazil is currently suffering one of the worst droughts in decades, this part of the Amazon is almost completely flooded for the 6-month wet season. By April, the end of the rainy season, the river rises up to 10 meters high and overflows its banks. As a result, all living things in the forest, including locals, must adopt an amphibious lifestyle. Even the jaguars have learned to adapt by living in the tree branches when the floods arrive.
Thank you, Bruno. Well done. Great reading. There's a couple of words in here I just want to go over with you. This one here is hover. Hover.
Hover.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
So a nice short O, okay? Hover.
Hover.
Yeah, that's better. This one here is the emphasis is on the first syllable, right? Decades.
Decades.
Yeah, cool. Now, this one here has come up quite a few times. I just want to get you to pronounce it differently. I'm going to put 2 words in the chat box for you.
Uh-huh.
Pronounce both of those.
Uh-huh. Floated.
Yeah. And the second one?
Uh-huh. Flooded.
Okay, let me help you. Because when you say this
Please.
word here, it sounds like you're saying floated, okay? So just be aware. I have a British accent, but that's alright, it can help you still. The first one is pronounced pretty much the same, British and American. Flooded.
With A?
So if you... With an A, no. This word here...
Double. Uh-huh.
If you imagine it spelt with a U, it's pronounced more like that. It's more like flooded.
Flooded.
Yes, that's much better. Flooded. The second one is an O sound. So with an American accent, floated. Or I say it floated, but it's still the same vowel sound, okay? Floated.
So it's not wrong if I say flooded.
When you say that, I'm not sure whether you're saying flooded or floated. What you need to do is try to distinguish your vowel sounds a bit more, okay? So if you're saying flooded with the water, make it more of an sound, as if it was spelt with a U. Flooded.
Flooded.
Yeah, that's better. And the other one is a much more O. Floated.
Floated.
Yeah. Well done. Much better.
Flooded. Oh, yeah, flooded. Is a huge amount of water, right?
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
Great.
You.
Well done. All right. So apart from that, we now know what flooded is. Any other questions about vocab or grammar?
What is the meaning of the worst droughts in decades?
A drought. A drought is the opposite of a flood. So what is a drought? Anybody?
When don't
There is no
rain.
water.
Yep,
When you don't
both
find
of you.
water.
Both of you are correct. Well done. Yep. A drought is when there's no rain. There's not enough water. A flood is when it rains too much and there's too much water.
Oh, okay.
Is that clear?
Yes.
Like in desert, right? Desert.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
exactly. Any other questions?
Mm. There's something. What is the difference between adapt and adopt?
Aha. Okay. Would anyone like to answer that? Adapt or can anyone explain either one of those words?
Adapt to accept circumsituation and to try to come along with that situation or that circumstances.
Yep, exactly.
Mm.
And what about adopt?
Adopt to have maybe a child. You adopt him to raise him like that. Adopt to rise.
Yep, absolutely. To raise, Allah, raise.
Sorry, to raise. Yes.
To raise somebody else's child as if they were your own, right? So that means you didn't have the child yourself, but somebody else did, and maybe they died, or maybe they just wanted to have their child adopted. To adopt also means something not to do with children, but a similar meaning, like to take on something, to take on an idea, similar. But that's the difference between adapt and adopt. Is that clear?
To adopt is like to be in someone else's shoes, right?
To adopt, not exactly. It really means usually we use it when we're talking about children. So if you adopt a child, it means that their parents don't want to raise them or are not able to raise them, so you raise them and they become your child.
Mm-hmm.
It can also mean like to you can adopt, say, an idea, or you can. It sort of means the same as to use, to begin to use a different way, a different idea, a different manner of doing something.
Is to make for some for adopt is to make for oneself the other person have an idea or a custom is to adopt, no, the custom to the country.
Yes, absolutely right, Adela. Great description, great example. Whereas to adapt was really well explained by Allah. It means that you have to change yourself in order to get used to something new, right?
To can adapt, not adopt the custom.
Yes, exactly. All right, that was a great question. Thank you. Any other questions? No? Okay, you can see here a picture of one of the flooding. And let's continue. So Bruno, thanks for that reading, and we'll ask David to read here from Only 1000.
Okay. Only 1,000 tourists per year are allowed to visit Mamirawa, which at 57,000 square kilometers is the largest wildlife reserve in the country. Created in 1984 to save the once endangered Yukara monkey, the reserve is the most carefully managed and protected part of the Amazon, and is also home to what many consider Brazil's most successful sustainable tourist resort, the Huacari Floating Lodge. If the reserve had not been created, Guide Francisco Nogueira said, the rivers and lakes would be empty of fish, and who knows how many trees would remain today.
Thank you very much, David. Great reading. Well done. Does
Thank
anyone
you.
have any questions? No? All right, excellent. We're still really reading the,
Chef,
getting introduced to this. Yes?
I can't understand why the river would be empty.
Okay, so let's ask if anyone can answer this. So have we found this out yet? Can anyone give an explanation? You mean this sentence here, right? Yeah?
If there was not a reserve, yeah, the river and lakes would be empty.
Would be empty, not of
Just
water,
fish.
but of fish. Yeah?
Fish, yes.
Okay, this hasn't been explained to us directly.
Maybe next. Yeah, okay, maybe next paragraph.
Yeah, but you can probably guess why. And what is a reserve exactly? What does that mean? Reserve.
It's maybe a habitat that is controlled, maybe to save some animals. Or
Yes, exactly. And generally it's protecting them against humans, right? Generally. So if it had not been created, basically the humans would have eaten all the fish,
yes.
cut down all the trees, right?
Yeah,
Because we're pretty awful in that way. Okay, but we are going to read a bit more. Thank you, David. Let's ask Jesus. Jesus, all you need to do is, are you able to see what we're reading on the screen?
Yeah.
Yep, could you read for us, please?
Okay. Just 30 years ago, Nogueira told me those living in the larger towns of Tefe, located some 60 kilometers south, and Manaus, 600 kilometers east, would travel to Mamiragua to make a profit from fishing and logging. But that option disappeared, at least technically, when the earth became a reserve.
Thank you, Jesus. We'll just pause there to see if your question has been answered a lot.
yes, it's very clear.
All right, excellent. So we know what logging is, right? Cutting down trees. Jesus, I'll get you to read another paragraph if you wouldn't mind, please.
Okay. The piperacu, one of the largest freshwater fish in the world at up to 4 meters long, is one of the Mamiraqua's main success stories. In fact, the fish is the main logo for the reserve. 20 years ago, the species was almost extinct, but after Pirarucu, fishing was prohibited in most of the reserve lakes and annual quota negotiated. Numbers replenished and are now at their pre-1990 levels. Today, only locals who depend on the Pirarucu for their livelihood are allowed to fish it. Logging was also made illegal except for the few locals who need wood for heating and building. With less competition from big city businessmen and multinational corporations, and with the resources protected in the long term. Mamiragua, 10,000 riverside residents can once again live sustainably.
Great, well done. Excellent reading, Jesus. Thank you. All right, any questions about this? And I'm going to ask someone to tell me a little bit of a summary of what we've read so far. So, are there any questions about this paragraph? Quite a lot we just covered there. No? Okay. In that case, I'm going to ask Bruno. Bruno, can you give me a really a bit of a summary? What have we learned? You don't have to give me all the details, just the general idea.
This paragraph says that the pirarucu is a fish, a really important fish of the Amazon, from the Amazon.
Yep.
And just a few number of people can fish it, can can how can I say, can get this fish
Hmm.
just for their livelihood, just for their survival, and people who want to sell to catch and sell this fish, they can't because it's illegal.
Absolutely. And how has that helped?
Because if you know, a lot of corporations, companies, with you know, lots of people get these fish, uh, they are going to be extincted. Is that right? Extincted.
They're going to go extinct. Yep.
Yeah, extinct. Yeah, this is important
Absolutely.
because of that. Yeah.
Yep. Thank you, Bruno. That was perfect. Well done. Okay, let's continue. So it's now Julian's turn. From today.
Okay, can you hear me better?
Yes, that's great.
Okay, today
Yep.
you're okay. Mm, Today the rainforest appears limitless, with trees continuing for miles, almost as expansive as the forest itself. Is it wildlife? More than 350 types of birds alone, including the prehistoric-looking housing and the yellow-rumped cacique, which mimics other wildlife with its call. The limit on tourist number means that the impact to the surrounding wildlife and fauna is minimized. Even the guided tours of the area include a maximum of 10 people.
Thank you. That was beautifully read. Well done, Julian.
Okay.
Okay, so guys, before we carry on reading, we're learning a lot about how a reserve has helped protect lots of animals and species in this part of the rainforest. I want to ask you guys just to tell me, one, which country you're from so that everybody knows, and two, do you have any special wildlife or nature reserves in your country, and what are they special for? What are they renowned for? So I'll ask Adela. Adela, where are you from?
I'm from Spain.
And can you tell us about are there any important nature reserves in Spain?
In Spain, there are a net about the national park. There are different protective figures to protect different areas. And government local, central and local, have more care, take care to the protective space.
Yeah.
A protective space and species. Because they are different ecosystem, very fragile, is necessary to care.
Thank you, Adela. Fragile, that's a great word. Have you been to visit any of these reserves, Adela?
Sorry?
Have you ever been to visit these reserves or any of them?
Yes, I am biologist.
Oh, wow!
I teach in a school, but it's in Natural Park in Valencia. This is a protective. They have a protective figure.
Wow, so you're an expert.
I like to visit them to go different ecosystems, etc.
Absolutely. Are there any restrictions on the number of tourists that can visit or the time of year that you're allowed to go that you know of?
It depends because there are different levels about the protection, and they are more strict protection. They are a control. You need a paper you can visit, and there are others you can fish or you can fishing or hunting. They are the activities are regulated. They are, but exist activity about the use the natural resource.
All right, thank you, Adela. That was very interesting. You'll have to tell us if we're getting anything wrong, being a biologist. Let's ask Allah. Allah, where are you from?
I'm from Jordan. Yes.
Can you tell us about Jordan?
Yeah, we have some reserves where there is no hunting, or there is special times, or in special times you can hunt, but not always. And that reserve, yes, it allows tourists and maybe specialists to visit and study animals. It's well known for special kind, or it's yeah, special kinds of deers.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it was about to extinct. Also, it's maybe an Arabian type, or I don't know. I don't know its exact name. I tried to paste a shortcut. You can see the picture. So that type was about to extinct, but yes, with the reserves, the numbers are replenished.
Yes. Okay, wow. Thank you. That's interesting. So I didn't even know that deer were special in Jordan.
Yes,
it's very interesting.
White. Yeah, white. It's, you can see it's completely white deer with just a spot. Yeah, a spot of black in face. Can you see it?
I had a look, but it's actually not leading me to anywhere. I'm gonna keep.
Okay. You can on Google. Yes, maybe.
Try that. Okay, while I'm looking for that, I'll ask Bruno.
Okay.
Bruno, tell us, where are you from and what kind of nature reserves you have in your country, if any?
I'm from Brazil. We have, a huge, how can I say, a huge, I don't know how to say it. I would say that in Brazil there's a lot of kind of nature of forests.
A huge variety, perhaps?
A huge what?
Variety, maybe?
Yeah.
That means there's lots of different
variety.
types. Yeah.
For instance, in the north of Brazil, you can find the Amazon, but in the northeast, you can find what we call in Brazil. It's like Caatinga. It's like a little bit like the African savanna. But it just happens in Brazil. How can I say? It resembles like desert sometimes. It's pretty hot there. Yeah. And in the south of Brazil, you can find, it's a little bit more cold there. So you can find a different type of forest.
Absolutely.
And I live in the southeast. It's a different kind of forest here.
So it's very, very diverse, I think, Bruno.
Yeah.
And have you been to the Amazon? Have you been to visit the place we're talking about before or not?
No, I've never been to the Amazon, but I want to.
Yeah, I think
it's far. It's pretty far from where I live.
Yeah, absolutely. You live in a very big country, and I imagine it's not that easy. It's not a particularly easy place to navigate. I don't know. I'm just guessing that.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Yeah. All right, very interesting. Thank you, Bruno. Let's ask David. Are you there, David?
Yes,
Where are you from? Remind me, where are you from?
I'm from Spain, Sadela.
Absolutely. And do you agree with Adela? Do you agree with what she said?
Yeah, absolutely. She's an expert on this topic. So yes, but I could add some information. For example, in the north of Spain,
Mhm.
uh, we have special protection with bears.
Ah,
There's
really?
a special kind of bears
Yeah.
uh, that we have to protect.
Mhm.
I don't know the word. It's another animal that is a bird like an eagle, uh, but in the movies or in the cartoons, when you are about to die, they start to fly in circles over you.
Oh, a vulture. A vulture.
A vulture, yes. We have in Spain a special kind of vulture, and is almost extinguished
Extinct.
and extinct.
Yeah.
I remember I was in a summer camp in the north of Spain many years ago. Oh, I feel old. Uh,
Oh,
and
David.
I remember mm, they were several no-profit organizations who try to protect these kind of animals. Um, they created, probably Adela knows about this topic better than me. Uh, mm, in the mountains,
Mhm.
when, for example, in a farm, an animal died, the people from the farm has to throw the dead animal to this mountain, to the vultures can eat the animal.
Really?
But yes, but when the animal was dead, the farmer has to make an analysis because maybe the animal was sick and it was bad
Yeah.
for the birds. So I remember there was a very strong controversial because some people did not make this analysis to the animals, so the birds was sick also.
Oh no. I
Yes.
see. Gosh, that's I never knew about that. David, that's very interesting. Thank you. I put a little bit of extra. Normally we say to do an analysis or simply to analyze.
Analyze.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So interesting. Okay, Jesus, where are you from?
I'm from Spain. I'm from the southeast part of Spain. That's
Uh-huh.
a very dry place. So I don't live with a very big kind of vegetation or animals, but near where I live is a protected area with it's called Cabo de Gata.
Yeah.
I think not everybody can enter it. Also, it's a protected area, but also because there are quicksands.
Uh-huh.
Where that's it. That's it.
And what kind of a place is Cabo de Gata? Is it desert sort of, or is it?
No, I think it's protected because it's the uh, one of the place where that is not dry where I live. So it's a bit of there are lakes and also short kind of animals, but don't know.
And Adela's saying that the plants are very interesting there.
Sorry?
Adela has just told us in the chat box that there are interesting plants there as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
because it's an ecosystem very dry,
Hmm.
and they are characteristic is different.
Yeah, because
Is rare. Is interesting.
Okay. Thank you guys. It just sounds like Spain has so many different diverse places to visit, even though it's not as big as Brazil. All right, let's ask Julian. Julian, where are you from?
Yeah, I'm from Colombia, Bogota, Colombia.
Uh-huh. And tell us about Colombia. What kind of areas of nature reserves do you have over there?
Yeah, Colombia have the part of the a part of the Amazon. But
Yes.
Brazil has the big part.
Uh-huh.
But here in here in Colombia, we have a lot of kind of
Species, yep.
species of animal. We try to preserve the environment, but in some cases, in some places or countries or areas, is used in this moment is using to extract oil and gas. And unfortunately, a lot of kind of animal or typical animal is dying because
Oh.
the water is gone. How do you say
Polluted.
how do you say the opposite to floated?
Oh, drought. There's a
Yeah,
drought.
drought a lot of areas. and but how do you say? But in this moment, the Amazon territory is big reserve, a big, what is the word? A reserve,
A big reserve,
a
yes.
big reserve. But here in Colombia, we have a lot of how do you say pisos térmicos? Mm,
You have thermal activity? No, you
yeah.
have thermal plants. I didn't hear you properly. What did you say?
Okay, let me 1 second. In Colombia, thermal floors.
Yeah, floors doesn't really translate well. What do you mean? You
Yeah,
mean underground? I think you mean underground thermal activity,
yeah.
like New Zealand, right?
We can find a lot of kind of species and
Uh-huh.
different climates.
Yes.
Um, and in the different territory here in Colombia, you can find a lot of kind of species, atypical species, but I don't know what else. But here in Colombia, we try to preserve the a lot of the environment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. It's good, I think, how each country is trying to do this because I think we have so many special places in the world that it's a very big shame if we don't look after them. All right, so we're going to spend the last few minutes reading a little bit more. Adela, could you please read from today?
Sorry.
Would you like to read a little bit
Today,
more, please?
okay.
Yeah.
Today, the rainforest appears limitless, with trees continuing for miles, almost as expansive as the forest itself. Is it wildlife? More than 350 types of bird alone, including the prehistoric looking housing and the yellow-rumped cacique, with mimic other wildlife with each call. The limit on tourist number means that the impact to the surrounding wildlife and fauna is minimized. Even the guided tours of the area include a maximum of 10 people.
Thank you, Adela. I apologize, guys. We already read that paragraph, didn't we? But that was beautifully read, Adela. Thank you. We'll continue. I know that this article is not very long, and I'm hoping that you guys will finish this off after class. We won't have time, but I'll get Allah to read a bit more for us, please.
The Mamiroa Institute for Sustainable Development, which runs the reserve and the lodge, also steers clear of the Disney-field aspects of other Amazon tours. There are no dancing tribesmen or performing monkeys. Instead, residents share their knowledge with visitors and are paid for it. From how they cook manioc, a staple root vegetable, to where they catch their fish for dinner. They are employed at Yukari lodges as cooks or fishing and hiking guides. The institute's stated goal is that eventually the lodge will be managed purely by the locals. Others aid researchers to track dolphins and jaguars rather than hunting them. In 2011, tourism activities overall generated an average of 1,800,000 for each family in the reserve.
Thank you, Alaa. Great reading. You can see a nice picture of a villager. And to me, this place sounds amazing. If I go to the Amazon, this is where I'd like to go. We're going to go to the next page so you can just see that there's a few more paragraphs. I'll get Bruno to read one more for us, beyond their paid activities. Are you there, Bruno?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Sorry.
No problem. Could you read just from beyond their paid activities, please?
Okay. Beyond their paid activities, locals took the time to sit and tell me stories about their ancestors who came here from other parts of the Amazon after World War II or Second World War II
Yep.
and the collapse of the rubber industry, looking for work. They invited me into their homes, their schools, and their in their dance halls. I was invited to help pick I think it's acai, berries, and meet their children. When one day I feel ill with kidney
Kidney.
pain, kidney kidney pain, they cured me with the bark and sap of a special tree called cat's claws for its thorns.
All right. Thank you, Bruno. Great reading from all of you. Are there any questions about any of that we've just read?
What about thorns?
A thorn. What is a thorn? Anybody know? No? A thorn is it. Yeah?
No. I tried to see. Sorry.
No, go ahead, Adela. Do you know what it is? No?
I don't
Okay.
know. No, sorry.
That's okay. A thorn is like, if you imagine a rose, you know the type of flower, a beautiful smelling flower. A rose has thorns on its stem, the things that's spiky, and they prick you, they hurt you if you touch them. That's a thorn. Yeah?
Yeah. Thank you.
No problem.
Rose.
Every rose has a thorn, has its thorn, I think is a saying. Alright, I hope you guys finish off that reading. If you do have any questions about it, write me a message or send me a message on Facebook and I'll help you out. But well done to all of you for some great reading today. And also some interesting information about all the nature reserves in our various countries. So thanks for participating. If you're interested in practicing some writing, then come along to my next class, which is starting in a moment. Otherwise, take care, and I hope to see you all soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much, Amy. Take care,
Bye,
you're cold.
guys. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.